It's time for you to know and for us to start our show. Have a drink and take a seat here on Brewsic and Boozies.
Hi, everyone. As usual, I'm super hyped to be here. Can you tell what movie we're discussing based on our outfits? It's not the Blues Brothers
Matrix.
or the Matrix. Not the Blues Brothers or the Matrix. We're talking about Men in Black, one of our favorites.
Yes.
From 97, 98, something like that, 1998. From when we were wee babes. But yeah, I think so. Chris and I were talking about it. My birthday is this week, and we were gonna do. I wanted to pick the movie for my birthday episode. We had another movie lined up, and then it sparked in me. I was like, let's do Men in Black because I love this movie. I know it from front to back. I remember it as a kid, and Chris is on board, of course, because he loves it too. He has the VHS behind him that he just pointed to. And we're super cool in our shades. We dress the part. We're in our black suits and our black shades.
This
I'm a
isn't
little
a
bit
suit.
hipper.
This is what I wear every day.
You know the difference between you and me? I make
this look good.
So yeah, we're gonna talk about Men in Black. Which annoyingly, I need to mention this because it annoyed me, is not on any streaming services except for Stars. And who
On
has
Stars.
Stars? Who has Stars?
For one day at a random month at a time, I'll have Stars for some kind of promotional thing.
Yeah.
But it fits, stars, space, and aliens. You get it.
Exactly.
So before we dive in, I
mhm.
have a question for you.
Sure.
What is that you just had a sip of?
It is my beverage of the night, which is not a beer. It is a cocktail.
She changed it up.
I attempted to make it black for Men in Black, but it's just this muddled dark green mess.
Oh, okay.
It's,
I thought there was like an alien in it.
No, oh yeah, this is rosemary. So my cocktail is, I became recently obsessed with this. It's gin, a little bit of lemon juice, and then I don't tend to drink tonic water because it's super sweet. So I recently found this company called Zevia. They make sodas with stevia, and they make this great tonic water. So they have a lemon lime.
I'm surprised that you didn't have it with sugar and water.
Sugar.
I should have just drank that.
We should have just drank sugar water this whole episode.
And water.
But yeah, that's my cocktail with a little bit of rosemary in it. Try to make it black. Didn't work out. But check out Zevia because it's great. Their sodas are really delicious.
I think it looks very, very, very fitting for the outfit and the theme of tonight's episode. I went with something a little different tonight. And when I mean different, the coffee cup is different. So I was trying to go with what those aliens were kind of drinking in the coffee room, as they just kind of drink a lot of coffee because they're on a longer day cycle than us.
Yeah. What are they? They're Centurion time, right?
So
no.
It's quite delicious, especially when you just made it, freshly made. This coffee smells amazing, by the way. You haven't smelled it yet. People go crazy when they smell it.
What is it? It's like hazelnut?
It's that hazelnut. Oh my God, it's so good.
What brand is it?
New England coffee.
Okay. You get it in the supermarket, I guess?
No, we order it way ahead of time and we have it by the cases here.
Are you kidding? Are you making a joke or are you serious?
Nope. If I showed you how many cases of it I have, you're going to be like, is this like some kind of like, you think I have a fallout shelter of coffee in my house? That's
Doomsday
crazy.
Preppers, but just coffee.
Yeah, well, you never know when you're going to get it again. So we stocked up.
I'm going to take my glasses off because they're making everything very dark.
I feel good, actually. No one
Leave
needs to
yours
see
on.
my eyes.
Just don't flashy thing me, you know. But yeah, that's what we're drinking tonight. I felt like it was my birthday episode, so I was like, I need to do a cocktail, no beer. We need to live
Wait,
it
is
up a little
today's
bit.
actually your birthday?
No, my birthday's not till Sunday. It is Wednesday.
Oh, Sunday. Okay. All right.
Yeah. My actual birthday is
Birthday to
Sunday.
Becky coming up this weekend.
Yay. But yeah. So let's talk about some memories of this movie, because I know I have a lot. And there was one that actually got sparked in me when I was going to watch this movie. But yeah, I remember watching this as a kid. I think I even saw it in the movie theater. I remember then, of course, Universal Studios opened a ride around this movie, which now I really have a connection with it because I go there all the time. But I remember most of all, I don't know if you remember this. I think it was Burger King. I don't think it was the first movie though. I think it might have been the second movie. They came out with toys and they had the flashy thing and it popped up and stuff. And I remember playing with that thing all the time until it like broke. But and I think was there like I remember having like a glass and it had like Men in Black on it. I don't know if that I'm remembering something else, but I remember having toys. I remember watching the movie, but mostly the toys, and then mostly Universal Studios, especially now because I still go to Universal Studios and I still try to get the high score on that stupid ride. I don't know if you've ever been on it, Chris. I don't think you've been to the studio since it opened.
I'm trying to remember when I was at Universal last. That was I even there when it was? I think it just came out, or it came out the year prior to I went to Universal in California. So it might have been there. I'm not sure. But I do remember going to see it a couple times in the theaters. And
this is a habit I feel like of yours.
Yeah.
You saw movies a lot in the movie theaters, like multiple times.
Well, my grandmother was very much involved with movies. With my brother and I, we went to movies every weekend. That was our thing. It was like that and Pizza Hut. It was like we go to the theater and then we get some dinner. Yeah, on the weekends, and it was a very special time because it was like we saw a lot of movies every I don't know, a couple weeks, I guess. I don't know, but this one was a very like exciting movie for me to go see. I really wanted to go see it, and I just remember the trailers being awesome, and seeing Will Smith and knowing him from Fresh Prince and all that other stuff. And I think he was doing other things at the time, but this was like one of his bigger breakout roles.
I think Independence Day came out maybe slightly before this.
Yeah, and I think I saw that in theaters as well. Yeah. Like right before that too. So I saw a lot of Will Smith back then, and I think that's what, and Tommy Lee Jones. We saw him in Batman was big. Yeah. He was big in, and I'm sure he did other things, but Fugitive, I knew him from.
The Fugitive, or
he's pretty much the same in every movie. Just a grumpy old
remember
man.
My parents used to make me watch like a bunch of 90s movies based on books and stuff, and he was always in it or whatever.
Yeah. So I was fairly familiar with Tommy Lee Jones at that point too. But yeah, just like it's everything I wanted to be. I was like, I don't think I knew the movie was going to be as good as it was before I even went to see the movie. You ever had those experiences? Like, this movie's going to be amazing. I don't have to even see it to know it. And it was even just as good as I imagined. So, but like, I remember waiting for all those cool parts in the commercials as always. Like, you saw the car, you saw the aliens, you saw just like all the funny parts in the commercials. And, I was like, you always are kind of waiting for those moments to happen. I think that's most of us. Like when is this going to appear in the movie? So I was kind of excited to wait till those moments happen. I remember seeing like trailers and just clips of this everywhere, like on TV show, like talk shows, and it was just like everywhere you went, it was just there. So I feel like I saw probably most of the movie anyways on TV before I even saw the movie.
You see,
I just love the movie.
Yeah.
And as I said, I have it on VHS, which I watched it.
Does it have? It's a slip, on VHS. It's a slip cover, right? It's not like a open cover.
Yeah.
It's a slip.
Yep, slip cover.
Awesome.
Yep. And I put it in still worked. It was really nice. It was really interesting to watch a movie again in full screen because it's a VHS tape.
Oh yeah, yeah, true.
But it really brought me back to watching that tape probably
Mhm.
a million times, because that's pretty much all I did back then as a kid, was just watch a lot of those movies. So anyways, that's my probably earliest memories of the movie. And then
Yeah.
later down the road they had like the sequels, but also the TV show was popular.
Yes, I forgot about it until
Yep.
I was looking for the first movie.
Yeah.
And I came across it and I was like, oh my God, I forgot about it. But I remember it was on TV for a long time. I
Yeah, it
think.
was part of the Saturday morning lineup, so
Yep.
I'd catch it on there. It was a pretty good show. It made sense. A lot of those movies that came out had kind of a like, all right, spin
Mhm.
that off into a cartoon show for kids.
Mhm.
And then I think that was a good one to choose. I know
Yeah.
most of my friends liked it, I think too. So, and there was this thing with it, with the cartoon show. Do you remember this? I think it was Discovery Zone, if I'm not mistaken. Do you remember Discovery Zone?
No, what
With
is
that weird
Discovery?
slide with the colors. I don't know if you remember those
No, I
commercials.
don't remember this.
Oh, and I remember they had like this. It was like a separate thing with the Men in Black TV show where you had to like shoot aliens or something. I don't know. Maybe I'm
Oh,
thinking about something else, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. I remember something with Discovery Zone and the Men in Black kids show
Hmm.
they had.
I don't remember what Discovery Zone. I don't think we ever attended.
We have it. We used to have it. It used to be right next to our. Remember Funko Land? Did you ever go there
No,
as a kid?
I don't live far from you either, so I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know
So
why I
there's
don't.
that road that had Funko Land, which was like basically like a video game old media store, and then it became you go all the way down in that town. It was like Coconuts was that store. It's by Best Buy over there, and
Oh yeah, in
BJ's.
Levittown.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, now we're getting like detailed into where it was. Yeah, okay. I know what you're
That's why
talking about.
I was just naming stores to see if you understood what I was talking about. But you're like, oh yeah.
Yeah, Coconuts.
But
When they closed, they like did a blowout of all their like
my
cool
my
merch and
grandparents
stuff.
my grandparents went there thinking it was a restaurant, and they walked inside and it's like a media store, and they were just like
Yeah, it had a
very
very like
confused.
tropical font,
It's called Coconuts.
and then like
you
palm
would
trees with
think it's a
coconuts on
restaurant.
it. It looks like it
Yeah,
did look like a
yeah.
restaurant.
Yeah. Anyway,
Um,
so it was right over there, and my babysitter used to take us over there to go play. It's like a little weird playground thing. My grandmother, I think, too.
I know where you're talking about. Never been there though. Never went.
Okay. Cool.
But yes, I guess for those of you who don't know, this movie is about a secret agency that polices aliens and stops them from ruining the world or ending our world.
They
And if
deal
you're
with
if
more
you
customs.
yeah, they're like an airport for aliens. They
Right.
take them in, they restrict them to certain parts of the planet, and then when something terrible is going to happen, they try to stop it and save the world.
Yeah.
They do, yeah, kind of bit of everything.
And I think I kind of skimmed over that whole part as a kid. I didn't understand that much. I didn't travel much. So I think if you were a traveler, you kind of understood that. Or not, or just anyone who actually understands, like, the whole, what an alien is, like, in the sense that, like, illegal, civilians, or, just
Yeah.
people being here. And that's kind of a play on word in this movie, and the fact that it's actual aliens from outer space that come
Yeah.
to live here.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny and ironic, but yeah, it's just like that they have this very, very advanced, system made up for these aliens, and that they can live their lives peacefully here on Earth. It's kind of an interesting concept for the time.
I don't really
thinking about
understand
it.
why they would want to live here, but
Right.
that's
I
my
just
opinion.
think, like, right, they cover up all the alien mess that kind of gets involved in the world,
Yeah.
specifically New
Yeah.
York in this movie. I wonder, how they get the
Yeah,
rest
like what
of
else
the
goes on.
worlds, but I think they take care of those in the sequels, but no one cares. But still, I didn't see them. But for this movie, it should be called Men in Black in New York. So
Well, the second one's New York, right?
yeah, I'm pretty sure too. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
remember the second one that much. I have it.
The
I've
third
seen it
one-
a couple times, and
the
I
third
did not
one's in
see
New
the
York
third
too.
one at all. Sorry.
It's so good, Christopher.
I'm afraid to watch it.
No, I thought it was going to be so bad, but
I've
it's
heard good
so
things.
good. So good.
For good things. I know you're a big Josh Brolin fan. I am too. But it was something weird about Tommy not being there. I remember getting into it like somewhere in the beginning, and then I kind of dropped out. I was just like, I'm over this. Like, stop. Like, I want to go watch the first one. That was kind of, but I kind of skip on a lot of those third installments of movies. I kind of get like I don't want to ruin what I already know, kind of thing.
I think it's better than
I don't want to stretch the imagination to what I know.
Second one's good. It's just weird, but I don't know. Well, that's the conversation for another time, I think.
It's like,
but I think you said this is a good segue. Good segue into the movie when you were talking about illegal aliens and their use of the term for aliens in this movie, and it opens up with that vehicle crossing the border with
exactly.
So it's not in New York the whole time. I just realized they're not in New York in the opening scene.
Right. Not exactly, but they not in the city, but they go around other areas.
Jersey Turnpike, but they could still be
of the tri-state area, if you want to say that. I don't really know anything else beyond that, but that's about it.
But yeah, so it opens with the truck full of illegal aliens, and the cops pull them over, and then the men in black show up, and they're interrogating the men, and they start speaking Spanish to one of the guys, and he has no clue what they're saying, and they're like, well, this is the alien we're looking for. And they pull him aside, and I don't know why, is it a joke? Is it trying to be a joke? I don't know, but it's funny to me. The way they open the movie, I don't know why I giggle every time.
What specifically do you laugh at? Just the fact that they're the way he talks to them, you mean?
Just the whole opening, the parallel to like what we deem as illegal aliens in this country, and then
I think that's the point. It's just like they're not even worried about the actual illegal aliens; they're worried about the real illegal aliens.
The real ones.
Like that's what it's funny about it. You're right. Yeah, of course. So, even watching it just now, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is what I'm saying. Stuff like this is over my head. I assume. I knew that, like, there's something wrong here, and the Men in Black are here to come help. But not to think about like the fact that it's a kind of play on the idea of illegal people that they're transporting. And I'm thinking like, oh yeah, that's exactly what they do. But like, we don't care about the people, the humans, they could stay. But like with the other people, we got to take care of them because nobody knows about them. So that's what's really funny to me.
They have just like that guy's, finally when they do the big alien reveal, they just have the guy's head on a
He's
stick.
just him on a pole.
It's just on a pole. He hands it, I think,
okay,
to Kay
that
or
reminds
something.
me of something I want to talk about. I didn't write it on our notes, but it just came to me now, and I definitely wanted to bring that up.
Go ahead.
Maybe not this scene. It's more. It's funny that it's just under a big coat and there's an alien with a pole and it like basically moving ahead. But like, I want to get to this later, but all the scenes, but how creative the movie is about how to hide all these aliens inside of people is very unique.
Yeah.
So when we get there, I want to kind of go into detail my thoughts of like why some of these are just so ridiculous, and then some of them are actually so brilliant at the same time. So
no, they're really great. And I guess something we didn't bring up in the beginning of our discussion was this movie's based on a comic book. I've never read it. It's a Marvel comic book actually, but I've never read it. I don't know how much of the content of this movie comes from the comic book. So I don't know if we can credit the filmmakers for just
I was reading something about it.
Yeah. You were reading something about it?
I was reading something about it, and the writer of the comic was saying how, not about the movie. I think he was more impressed with how the movie did a good job or something like that, but just how like just the idea of, that there's this organization that helps and cleans up the day, and that they wear black and they're hidden in black, and they would drive. He said he saw like a car drive by in this weird black car, and it's like, he would, that's exactly the kind of car that they would drive. And that like the writer said something that he was like, he said, oh, It's like he actually saw a car and he's like, I think the Men in Black are real people. Like,
Well, the Men in Black is a real
really
conspiracy theory. Like that's a real conspiracy
yeah.
theory. There are people that were like, I was confronted by the Men in Black. Like people believe it. Did it come from? I don't think it came from this concept though. I think it was there before. I just realized my tongue turned black from this drink.
Let me see.
It's like a little bit.
Tongue in black.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But,
so you are the alien. No.
I am. But yeah. Anyway, I don't know how much creative came from the comic book or they came up with this on their own. Either way, it's so funny and it's so creative the way they came up with this stuff.
Yeah.
Even in the second one,
great.
there's some good use of like how aliens are hiding amongst us. It's great. But yeah,
Well, I'm sure they had to like
point 'em as you go through.
up the ante. They had to make it different from the first one, saying, "Hey, what do we got to do different here?"
Yeah. Why are they Quentin Tarantino? That was like a weird Quentin Tarantino impression.
Get Johnny Knoxville in that movie. Who knows?
Oh right, he has two heads. Oh.
So that was the beginning. We talked about the whole opening with him. We meet Mikey the alien, and he's kind of, the first alien we get to experience as a viewer.
He's very aggressive. Very.
His voice is very crazy too. It's like, I think it's like a mix of practical and CG. It's pretty amazing.
Oh yeah, definitely. They won an Oscar. I don't know if they won an Oscar for the alien makeup, but they won an Oscar for makeup. I don't know if it was special effect makeup in this movie, which is amazing to think.
I think
we won an Oscar,
the special effects hold up amazingly in this movie.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. But yeah, I don't actually. Do you know if that alien in the beginning is a mix of practical and CG, or
from what I could tell, yes, I saw some practical in there, but I think when they're actually speaking to him, and then when he goes running, and like when he first opens up the coat, he's CG, and then he becomes a practical like puppet or whatever they call those, stand-in costume designed.
I think it depends if they use a puppet or an animatronic.
Yeah, and then has some kind of puppeteering for his face. It's really cool.
I have to rewatch it because I honestly thought it was all CG.
Okay, yeah.
But then he gets shot. I
think there's more practical in this movie than we can imagine today.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So everything would have been CG today, or almost everything. I don't even though they're mixing it up, I think this movie does it mostly practical in the right spots. So
yeah. When he gets shot and that blue goo comes out of him, it always bothers me.
So speaking of practical effects and just amazing characters we meet. So that was the first alien we meet, correct? It was Mikey. Yeah. But the second one we meet is our introduction to Will Smith. And it's him chasing this. Oh, yes. Who we think is just he thinks it's just a guy, right? I don't even know why they're chasing him. They just start chasing him. And do you think this guy was just a stunt guy they found? And they're like, can you say this line? Because this guy does incredible stunts. And that's all really him.
I wonder that, or they because I don't know if you see his face in all those stunt moments. It's possible that was the stunt person and this was the actor who just.
No, when he dives backwards, I could swear that's the actual actor. When he jumps off the cliff or the side of the building, it's incredible. And that's him doing that flip, I think, off the wall. I love this gymnastic moves that guy does.
Great.
I think it's him. All
throws them into the wall.
Say, no, it's not. Even still, whoever that is, amazing stuff.
Oh yeah. And then his eyes blink sideways, and it's like, ugh. Or he's breathing.
They're gills, they're not eyelids.
Yes.
Is that a breath?
Yeah. I wanted to bring that up too because I love you.
Yeah.
I love that whole scene because I love the interaction between Will Smith and that other cop. It just like cracks me up.
Oh yeah. Well, I was gonna say Will Smith is hysterical from minute one in this movie. His first line when he goes like, NYPD, I'm gonna knock your punk ass down. I love that line. And then he jumps off and he lands on the bus. He's like, it just be raining black people in New York.
His delivery is fantastic.
Oh my gosh, so good. Yeah. I mean, you need it in this movie. He's perfect.
Oh yeah. Well, from what I heard, Tommy Lee Jones was like
Oh,
French.
he's not a nice guy.
He
he's a rough.
I heard in this movie he was rough in the fact that he didn't think his character was funny. So he started to just improv lines, and the director was like, whatever, do it, because like I know you're a seasoned actor, like I trust you.
Yeah.
And like apparently that made Will Smith a better actor, like want to keep up with him. So it was really great chemistry for them. And it actually helped the movie. So maybe he is the nightmare to work with, but I think in this instance it might have helped.
I just saw, actually, I'm glad you brought this up. I just read that the director was petrified to work with Tommy Lee Jones because he said he saw him in interviews how mean he is and how crazy he's heard that he has said to other experiences other actors and people who've worked with him had. And he said he actually got along with him really well. It's just that like he's he is a grumpy guy, but as long as your opinions are on board the same as yours, you're going to be fine with him. He's one of those kind of people. So yeah, it's kind of heartbreaking because I think he shows a lot of charm in his characters so much. And that's like I hear about a lot of actors, you know, that they kind of what was I gonna say? I think James Caan is one of those that he seems charming, even though he's kind of like rough around the edges, but in real life they're crazy.
Yeah,
crazy
like
to work with.
They're not like threatening, but like they are. They're
well, James Caan I think is just straight up
bit.
threatening, but but Tommy Lee Jones just doesn't like people, and he's not a people person. And he never will work with Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey really had a tough time working with him.
I did hear about that on the Batman movie. But I think it's because it's like the Jim Carrey show when you work with Jim Carrey, and I don't think he likes that. We can have that conversation during a Batman
he was the big
episode.
actor coming up, and he took the spotlight a lot in that movie. And sure, there's some ego issues with that. And Tommy Lee Jones is, you know, his ears weren't big enough or something. I don't know. So.
And Tommy Lee Jones signed up for 3 of these movies, so something was right with everyone in the movie for him.
He was on a roll. Sure, he's 90s sailing for you know, for a while. He was the face on everything you saw for a while in the 90s.
But yeah. Oh, also in that scene, I wanted to bring up, we also get introduced to, I don't know her name, the morgue lady.
I was gonna say I had it. I was trying to think of her name. Luckily, I just saw the movie, but her name is Laura.
Okay.
Morgue lady. That works too. What do you think of her?
I love her. She's great. I love her character.
Okay.
Love her character.
Why
you don't like her?
Too. No, I do, but there is something off about her dialogue, and that's part of her character. I'm not saying she's bad, or it's just there's something like kind of clunky, like in her. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's like later in the movie, but and I'm not taking a cheap shot at her because I really do like her. I do. And it's more about, I don't know. Something seems kind of too scripted maybe for her. I don't know what it is. Her lines just seem like almost like she's reading from something sometimes. I don't know. Maybe I was just overanalyzing her character this time around, but she's good. No, she's good. It's also early.
I like her because she's like, from the get-go, you're like, she's seen some crap, you know?
Yeah.
Being in that,
but that's what I'm saying. You could argue it's also because that's her character. She's just kind of awkward and works in a morgue.
She's not used to people
and has suspicious kind of characteristics. Yeah. So.
She's been flashy thing too many times too. Could be neuralized too many times. She's been neuralized too many times.
I thought you just said she's been flashing too many times.
No, she's been flashy thing too many times.
Yes, probably. Well, that's what's funny.
Scene, we see her get flashed.
In the very first scene, she gets flashy thing right in the beginning after she goes to talk to Will or Jay. So I was like, man, she's been flashy thing the most out of this whole movie.
Because in the morgue, she probably gets a lot of dead aliens, and she sees them, and they gotta go flashy thing at her. Like, it happens a lot.
Well, yeah. I think it was just as a kind of response to the fact that Kay came in that first when they talked to Jay about what he saw with that jumping alien dude who jumped off the building, and he had to go cover that up. So I think everybody who was there, even his boss, I forget I don't know his name. No one knows his name, but I think because he goes like, "Good work, Edwards." I thought he got his memory erased too.
He flashed him and it was like,
everyone gets wiped at some point in this movie, just about.
True. Yeah, I agree. I see your point. But what happens after that? So they go. He shows them that they're aliens.
They see Jeeves.
Oh yes, they go to
Jeeves.
That too. See my brain.
Go see.
I don't have my notes in front of me, so. Yes. Oh my God, Tony Shalhoub.
I just saw it. It's all right here.
Yes, thank you. Keep me on track.
But
Tony Shalhoub is amazing, and I love that character, and it's such a random part for him to play.
So it threw me off because how much makeup he actually has in this movie, and he really does look different than his normal self because they give him like a weird nose and he has weird ears, and I don't know if you ever realized that.
Yeah, they do. It's like everything's like bigger.
It was kind of off-putting. I think as a kid, I always thought maybe they just gave him a little bit of makeup, and then seeing him in other things, I don't know. He's been in so many other things, but it's just like, oh wow, he really looks so different in this movie for what he actually seems like in other things. What did you do first?
His teeth are bigger too.
His teeth are his eyes are all messed up. He's got like a big ears thing and big nose. It's really funny.
What did I first see him in? Good question.
Yeah, I don't know.
So my parents, I used to watch Wings with my parents.
I was gonna say Wings is a big thing. Okay,
Wings is like the first thing I ever saw.
Did I tell you I watched all the Wings?
Oh, did you?
Oh yeah, I love that show.
No, you didn't tell me that.
Wings. Quagmire.
Yeah, it's great. But I grew up a huge Monk fan, so I don't think when I was a kid I put two and two together about like who this person was until I got older, and it was like, well, yeah, I used to watch Wings. He was in Wings, and then like, oh, he's
Galaxy Quest.
And Galaxy Quest.
That's what I was thinking. There it is.
But that didn't come out before this, I don't think.
After?
I think so.
Yeah, after.
Maybe. I don't know. Someone let us know if we're wrong or right. I have no idea. I'm gonna open this drink really quick. Yeah. Whee. But yeah, that. Go ahead.
I'm thinking. I didn't know that. This is kind of an embarrassing story and very inappropriate for the time. I was repeating something I wasn't supposed to. When he gets his head blown off, you know what he says? He's like, "You insensitive."
Oh yes.
I used to repeat that, not thinking it was that bad a thing to say, because I just heard it in the movie, and then I was like,
"Oh!" And this movie has like a. What rating does this movie have? I mean, I guess you could get away with.
Absolutely, it's a PG-13 all the way around.
Yeah.
There's no denying. It's perfect PG-13 movie. No F-bombs or anything like that, but definitely just like a lot of S-bombs and a lot of just kind of some graphic violent scenes and kind of scary imagery. It's perfect. Will Smith just being Will Smith.
Will Smith being Will Smith.
World to me. I'd like to have him back.
Ew, that was great. Wait, hold off on your Edgar impressions. Actually,
I'm sorry.
So after
that just came to mind.
After this scene, Jeeves, he points out the gun. They figure out like what's going on a little bit, and then they eat at that Chinese restaurant. He's like, "Honey," what is that line he says?
Someone's eating my popcorn. Well, that's a weird thing I couldn't understand. He wipes his memory right after that. And then they're having dinner to wipe him from the G scene.
Yeah.
But he ends up saying, "Okay, come to work tomorrow."
Yeah.
Black.
You know what? I thought the same thing. I was like, I don't get it. Maybe just in case he doesn't show up. Not come to work. So he gives them the card to come to the training. Not the training, to come to the interview. So if he doesn't show up, then he has to wipe his memory to make him forget everything. Make sense?
I guess. I don't know. I just figured like he already just saw all the aliens. Does he know if he was going to an alien place after that? He doesn't know. Because I guess you're right. He doesn't know. He gives them a card, say, "Come meet us."
Yeah.
But then they reveal all the alien stuff to him on a different memory level.
I think it's more of like a security blanket of the fact that like if he decides not to come, that they wiped his memory.
Oh, you know what? I'm thinking about this now. It's a little strange how the writing is sometimes in this movie. So,
Yeah.
like, remember he talks to Kay, tells him like all the alien stories, and he's supposed to believe him with all the photographs where they're talking about the how it's like Casablanca, what's going on.
Oh, you brought
in
the
history.
tall man flowers.
And he says to him, "Okay, it looks like you need a CAT scan, right?" And, like, he doesn't believe him.
He doesn't know.
But then he goes, "All right, I'm gonna go get some cup of coffee. You want some?"
Oh, yeah.
And then he goes like,
okay.
"Yeah." And then that's when he sees the aliens standing there, all the weird bug alien things, whatever you call those things.
Yeah, I don't know what they
worms.
are. I don't know
there
if
we go.
Yeah, they're worms. Yeah, they're worms. They have names. I don't know
So
what
I
they
think
are, though.
that's technically his first time seeing an alien again after Jeeves, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So there
well,
you go.
not really,
He's seen
because
two aliens.
before they're
one with
in the
winky
Chinese
eye.
food restaurant, they do see other, like he says to like look around or whatever, and you that's when you kind of see people hiding as aliens. Like there's a person on a bicycle that he's like, oh, that's an alien, and there's a person walking with like a tail or something, and he's like, oh, that's an alien. So he does see other aliens between the time.
Person on a bicycle?
Yeah.
I just saw like two people riding a bicycle and those weird two people bicycles.
Yeah.
That's all
and that was supposed to be some evidence.
Oh, I don't know
why.
Thought that. I always thought it was just a random bicycle walk, like people just riding bikes.
No, and I'm pretty sure they flashed to another person and they clearly are an alien. They have like a tail or something weird.
No.
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna hold you to it. I don't remember that at all.
Oh, we are gonna check on this, and we will give you an update.
I just watched it, maybe because of the VHS quality, I didn't see it, but still.
No,
I don't remember that at all. I could be wrong. I never picked it up. It's very dark in that scene right after it gets out of the store. So
yes.
I'm thinking, what happened?
We will follow up in the next episode with
that's what I'm saying. But he
this.
flashy things him anyways. That's what I'm saying. Like, what was the point? I think because he saw
the point
Jeeves, he wanted to like forget that.
Yeah, he wanted him to forget Jeeves' thing because in case he doesn't show up to the interview to what, I don't know what it would be called. It was called an audition. It's kind of an audition. The next day.
I think you're right. It was a recruit. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It just seemed confusing to me, and I would try to make sense out of that either way, because I don't know. Just not something I would choose to like make that choice. Just flashy him anyways if he's going to be there.
We also don't know how far back he flashied him for. So like,
that's
did
true.
he
And I was
just
thinking
erase
that too.
Steve,
Well,
or did he erase?
You don't know how that works exactly. Yeah. Like if it's like 20 minutes, an hour, 5 seconds, who knows? So it's all make believe, people. Just have fun with it. Anyways,
we're gonna jump around for a second because we already kind of mentioned this, the recruitment scene. We'll go back to Edgar.
Like this is going to be a 2-hour episode, everybody. So hang tight.
We'll have a whole Edgar segment in a second, but let's talk about, because this is one of my favorite scenes in any movie because the way Will Smith's character, the way Jay behaves is just so funny, but it's also because he passes the test, and I just love it. First of all, I love when he walks in that room and he's like, "Why are we here?" And the guy's like, "Because we're the best of the best of the best, sir." And he's like, "Okay, that's great, but like, why are we here?" He's just like, "I don't understand this. I don't get it." And you're not supposed to get it
because you're best of the best.
What's that actor's name? Oh my god, I can't think of it. When he opens the test and then he breaks his pencil.
No,
and
that's the actor's name.
Oh. What a joke.
I didn't mean to do that, by the way. I really didn't. But that was my joke at you answering who that actor was. That's just ironic. But yes, he does do that.
When he opens the test.
That is hysterical. That whole scene's so funny. I remember cracking up so loud in the theater
so
too.
Loud.
That scene.
He like the sounds the table makes. And it's like, oh.
Yeah. I love how everybody's struggling, in those weird pod seats. Like the guy's riding on the wall, the guy's on the knee, can't get it to lay flat. It's like, and the pencil pokes through. Like, how are you supposed to take? I think that's just a joke to any form you're supposed to fill out in the waiting room. It's really funny.
Oh yeah. I also think it was a test because he's the only one that used his brain and was like, oh, there's a table there. I can use that. Instead of going to sit at the table, he just drags it to him.
Right.
And he's like to the other guy, you want to get down this? It cracks me up every time.
So this goes into the next scene that I always think reminds me of Fun Zone. Did you ever go to Fun Zone?
No, is this different than Discovery Zone or Discovery
Different
Center?
from Discovery Zone. So this was like other part of town. What's there now? Like a Chili's or something? I don't know what's over there.
I think it's a Denny's.
And they had the Nathans next to it. You never went there?
Oh, we're thinking of a different place.
The video games. No, there's Discovery Zone and there's Fun Zone. Two completely different places.
I didn't go to either.
But so at Fun Zone, it was like an arcade place, but they also had this like laser tag room.
Oh.
They could play laser tag in. And this beginning, when they go running in to shoot all the, cardboard alien things. I don't know. I just I think about like when you go run in to go like play laser tag. I don't know, immediately every time.
I remember the commercials on TV. I do remember that. Yeah, for sure. And they had the laser tag commercial, but I never.
Okay, so maybe that's what that Men in Black thing was, right? It was a laser tag game. Is that what it was? I'm thinking
no, weren't they were shooting real guns because there's holes in those.
No. I meant the ride or
it is.
Like the
you have a fake gun and you're
the
shooting
theme room.
lasers.
Yeah. Okay.
But it looks like that scene, like it's the same like type of aliens from that scene from the movie when he's shooting. He's like, this guy's in the gym. This guy's just trying to blow his nose. He has a cold or whatever he said.
I know, it's so good.
Yeah, that's hilarious. And his rationale for shooting the little girl is great. It's perfect because like, you can't trust anyone. They could be an alien. You don't know. I don't know. You could be an alien. I have no idea.
Who knows? Anyways, so I think we got through, and actually I wanted to bring this up. Maybe we're going to talk about the music of this movie kind of down the road. We decided we're going to, obviously it being called Brewsic and Boozies and movies and music. We wanted to kind of leave that to the end so we can kind of go a little bit more in depth to that. But
yeah,
there's something special about that scene on the bridge, or not the bridge, but the where is that in New York that they're sitting on that bench and he has to choose. He sits on the bench for deciding to join.
I'm not sure.
I don't know either, but it's really beautiful. That sunset.
Yeah,
where
that
he's
scene
sitting.
is great, and
but the music's really cool there because
Yeah.
it's like I like it, and I'm thinking like to me, it's such a different style of music for for the artist, for the composer of this movie. So I find that interesting.
Yeah. Well, we should mention who composed the music to this movie. In case people don't know, Danny Elfman did the
I thought it was Rip Torn.
Rip Torn. That's why you made the rip joke. Darn it.
Oh, you finally got that now.
I finally got it.
Oh my gosh.
I just see him in Dodgeball getting crushed by that time.
Oh my gosh. But yes.
Yeah, Danny Elfman did do the orchestration to this movie. I guess we could talk about it now because we're here. But
okay.
I wanted to save the talk about the music of this movie until the end because, to be honest, like there is a whole soundtrack to this movie of just like soundtrack music, but then there's also a whole orchestration, like a whole soundtrack of that. But
exactly,
I think, and we talked about this in our Spider-Man episode a little bit. Danny Elfman is known for his like whimsical, weird orchestration, but there's movies like this and like Spider-Man where his music is not a distraction at all, so you don't even know it's there. And even thinking about this movie, it's like I can't pinpoint the music to this movie because it fits so well into what you're watching. And I think they did a good job. Just so a little history of the movie before I make my point is before they got the director who they got to do this movie, he committed to doing another movie and I can't think of what it is. Oh, Get Shorty. He was supposed to direct Get Shorty. Wasn't sure if he could do this, so they were gonna go find someone else. I think Quentin Tarantino was asked, and Quentin Tarantino was like, "I didn't write the script. I'm not gonna do it." And then John Landis, who had done, he's known for American Werewolf in London. He also did Blues Brothers. So he was like, I'm not going to do it because it's too similar to Blues Brothers. The director that directs this movie wound up doing it. But the music to me in this movie, the orchestration, is so Blues Brother-y. Like, if you listen to it, you have that, like, rock
That
and
Mission
roll kind of vibe
Impossible,
to it.
I hear a lot of too.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
interesting.
At least
Ah.
something Mission Impossible kind of style of music to me. I was hearing a little bit.
To me, it's like you get that like blues kind of tone to
Yeah, I
some
guess so.
parts of it. Mission Impossible.
In certain scenes, I can't exactly pinpoint where, but I just could tell, like, in certain scenes, like I kind of like this Mission Impossible kind of feel.
I love how I just gave a whole dissertation on what I believe is Blues Brothers, and then you just were like, Mission Impossible. You like dropped that bomb, and I was like, well, back to the drawing board for me.
No, it's all up for interpretation. So music is supposed to do one thing with movies. I was thinking about this today. It's supposed to just kind of heighten your emotion with that scene, no matter what it is. So whether it's catchy score or just background noise, it's part of the story. It's just there to help move the story. So
I think that's what he does
correct
really well with this score, and why you don't really notice it as much, because it's really good background music to the scenes.
I because it's Danny Elfman, I hear a lot of his what I call tricks, and I hear a lot of his isms.
But then there's scenes like the one we were just talking about.
I hear Nightmare Before Christmas things he's doing somewhere here, and
Edward Scissorhand, I hear that a lot all the time.
Another score thing here. It's just movements and score writing that he does. But in this movie, there's like a part where it's like so not his type of thing, and that's why I wanted to bring up. And it's right, that scene where they're sitting at the bench. It's like this kind of cool, like different, just kind of
they play
somberness to it. Yeah, I don't know what to call it.
Later on, they play it when when Kay is looking at his like wife. He's like snooping on her. Yeah, right. He does like the GPS thing. They played it something similar then, and it's like something you really haven't heard Danny Elfman do much. It's kind of like a somber kind of like love melody that's different.
And the times I hear him do it in other movies, it's usually more. You're right. It's almost like this is just like it's usually it's more. What's the word? Not jarring, but
there's no horns.
Think of the word to use. Yeah.
There's nothing like sharp. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Like, to me, there's no sharpness to these 2 points in his orchestration.
Right. It doesn't like make you think about the music. It's just there. You're thinking more about the scene. I think other times you're really focusing on the music when he's doing his thing sometimes. So anyways, that was my point. So that's
no, I agree, and I'm glad you brought it up.
Thinking about, I didn't know this was Danny Elfman for a long time until I think I saw the credits as Danny Elfman. I go, oh, I know that guy. So
well, he gives himself a big intro in the opening credits. I don't know if you've noticed this, but in the opening credits, when that mosquito's flying around, when his name appears on screen, he always gives a flourish. And
name another movie where they have the crazy intro that's really long and they're going through a town or something.
Sleepy Hollow, there's a huge flourish for Danny Elfman.
Guys, come on.
Oh yes, Beetlejuice too. I think
it's
I think Danny Elfman does it in every single score he composes. He gives himself this big flourish when his name comes on the screen.
He doesn't do it in Nightmare Before Christmas. Oh wait, there's a whole entire song in the beginning.
Yeah, what? And he's singing it. Well, no,
I know.
Yes, he is singing it. What are we talking
about? Yeah. Actually, I don't think he sings in that one.
Yeah, he does. Someone else has a voice.
Oh.
The studio approached him and was like, Danny, we don't want you to sing. And Danny was like, I can't, like, he's so close to the project. Anyway, that's a conversation for another episode.
All right, so here's the big moment. You ready?
Big moment.
So we meet the villain of this movie after this.
Yeah.
And who is it?
Steven.
D'Onofrio.
Vincent D'Onofrio. Okay, so I went to high school with someone named Steven D'Onofrio, and I always call Vincent D'Onofrio Steven.
He's watching this right now going, it wasn't me.
Like, that's me.
I'm
Yes.
Edgar.
Vincent D'Onofrio. And what a performance. What a beautiful performance by him. It is great. He's a great villain.
I was too young
does
to
the
know that that's a
character so
beautiful
well.
performance. I was just disgusted the entire time.
Oh, well,
You
I
know?
think that's the point, though. You're supposed to
Yeah.
be like, ugh, ugh.
Intense.
He's a cockroach as a
intense.
man.
Yeah.
He's a man cockroach. And it's gross. And like,
All right. So this is what I wanted to talk
gorgeous.
about. And this is going back
Okay,
to
go ahead.
the beginning of this movie with Mikey being underneath a, big fur coat.
Mhm.
Like, how the heck this gigantic bug fits in his Edgar suit body. And it's ridiculous. And I
Mhm.
love it because it's creepy and it works when he's doing his little Edgar movements. It's so great.
Yes.
But this bug is huge. I mean, it's huge.
It's
It
like
cannot come
crammed in
back.
that little body.
Even the spaceship that he flies into is too small.
Tiny.
Vincent D'Onofrio is like 6'5". He's a big dude. If you ever
He's a
saw
big guy, yeah.
Daredevil, he's Kingpin and he's
Yeah,
huge.
he's
I never
a big
realized how
guy.
big he is. People have told me I look like him. I don't. I guess scratch that
Ooh,
off.
now that you say that, kind of.
Younger
Yeah,
D'Onofrio, though.
younger. Like
From
Law
like
and
Mystic
Order.
Pizza or something. I don't know.
Oh.
Which I never seen, but people have told me that. So he's wheeling the thing into the truck. And I'm like, he's almost as big as that thing, and that's him as the person. But like him as the bug, he's huge.
Yeah, he's
as we learned.
gigantic.
I'm thinking if he wasn't that big, I'd be okay with it. But he's a huge.
I think that's what makes it funnier, though.
It bugs
This
me.
Big thing. It bugs you. To me, it's just hilarious. It's this big guy crammed in this small body, and his performance really.
All right.
does
Are
a
we
great
allowed
job
to do
embodying it.
Edgar impersonations yet? Or are we going to leave them to the end? We want to
You're
just
allowed to
talk
do
about
it.
Edgar.
You could do it now. We're talking about Edgar
Well, I
right
don't know
now.
if I want to do Edgar as Edgar or Edgar as Bug Edgar or just do Beatrice, which is his crazy wife.
Oh no, Edgar.
Edgar's getting hanging off her bones.
Is that?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Is that better? Give me sugar in water.
My brother and I
So
will
funny.
always quote that. The more.
Well, did you think I always thought it was a different actor? By the way, this is a credit to him. I always thought that was a different actor, and then it becomes
from
different.
The very first time you
actor
meet
once it's
actual
Bug
Edgar.
Yeah,
Mm.
is that? And you could tell that's his voice. Is the bug saying,
Yeah.
"Put your weapon down" or whatever he says. I'm pretty sure. Your proposal is acceptable.
Yes. Oh my god, I love that line. It's so funny because it's like
How does that bug know how to speak English so well?
He's an
they must know
alien.
everything. They're alien.
he's an alien.
They know everything.
Do you
about-
know? Quick fact. Did you
Yep.
know that Vincent D'Onofrio did the voices of all the bugs on Men in Black the series?
Yeah, I was just gonna bring that up. No, I had no clue.
In fact, he did all the voices for the series as well. Not all the voices, the bug voices
He's a
specifically.
talented guy, and I've never watched him on Law and Order or anything like that,
Oh.
but I can understand why he gets work now. After seeing him on Daredevil, I was like, oh, and then
He was my favorite
and then-
part of
and then
Daredevil.
Men in Black was on. I'm like, that's him. And I'm like, how did I not know? He was not a known actor to me at the time, and
He also has like 6 hours worth of makeup on, so like
yeah,
never
he's
know.
almost unrecognizable
do
in
you
the
know
movie.
they
so-
also put they put leg braces on him, and then he taped his ankles so that that one scene where he's walking all funny.
Oh
and
my
he points
God,
at
that
guy,
makes so much sense
he has
now. So
leg
get
braces
this.
on. He's like,
This makes so much sense now, because who had leg braces as well? Forrest Gump. Who was
Okay.
Forrest Gump getting on the bus with? That was Beatrice. That was the bus driver. That's who that was.
oh my god, it's the same actress. You're right.
I know. Right?
Oh my god.
This comes
It is-
full circle now. That she was secretly an alien in Forrest Gump. Edgar, you're skinning off your bones. Forrest Gump. What was her name in Forrest Gump?
The bus driver. I
Sixth
don't know.
Sense kid who knew she was a ghost, actually. No, I'm kidding.
We are really just getting deep into this now.
I'm just being stupid now. But yeah, but just to have her as the wife is just too perfect.
Mhm. You know what also makes me laugh in this movie? So you mentioned it earlier, him trying to fit his spaceship in the back of that truck, and I never noticed it until recently when I was watching it, but he leaves it there and it's just like sticking out.
No, it doesn't fit. He had to like tear a hole in the top
So
of that,
when
that bug
when they
truck.
finally when he takes the pickup not the pickup truck, the pickup truck. When he takes that, when they finally confront him before like the big fight, he takes that truck and
Okay.
then the roach truck gets left behind with his spaceship in the back. And it's just like sticking out the back of it
Yeah.
like the whole time.
It's great. It's just a mess.
The
This
whole
movie's a
time.
mess in a good way. It's just
No, I
that
don't think
he's a
it's a
bug.
mess.
He doesn't
I think
care. Just there. It's all part of
yeah,
the
he
fun
doesn't
of it.
care. He's like, I don't care what people know what I am. But like I think
Or
it's
just people
more
are
of a
just so
joke.
stupid. It's like, what the heck is that? And they go on with their lives. That's just the reality of people.
Yeah, like I don't jump to think aliens whenever I see things. It's not
No, they
like
think like maybe that guy's working for spaceship things. I don't know. It's a bug collector. It was a bug zapper thing. Who knows? Yeah.
But yeah, we jumped around a lot.
A little bit.
Yeah, we meet Edgar.
But we're just saying we met Edgar, and he's a lot of fun, and it's as you said, it's a beautiful performance by Vincent, and he's just amazing as him, and he's disgusting and crazy and creepy, and he's really scary.
Yeah, he is really scary because his eyes are like white. They had to I heard they had to super glue his eyelids every day for production.
Oh my
which
gosh.
is wild.
I don't want to know anything about the makeup for him in this movie because it just looked painful. If any of it was true, it didn't. I didn't know. I just watching it. I'm like, I don't know how they got his face to look so,
It's great.
But,
He looks like there's something in there.
Maybe a gigantic bug that's 5 times the size of him. All right, so we got to Edgar, and that's good.
Yeah, we got that.
Then you wanted to bring up another cool scene with Reggie, who is the guy who wants to leave. He's in a hurry to leave, and his wife's pregnant in the back seat.
Oh yes. So I love this scene because it is a practical effect. So one of the first
little baby alien.
Yes. So the first mission that Jay and Kay go on together is to stop Reggie from leaving the island of Manhattan because he's not allowed to. They catch him on the Jersey Turnpike and his wife is pregnant. They're trying to leave Manhattan because they know what's about to happen. They know that the roach people are coming. No, it's the people for Orion's belt. They're coming to get it, right?
Okay.
Oh my God, why am I? Whatever. Anyway.
Sure.
So
they're just afraid that the bug is there. Yeah. The Archelians. That's the thing.
Yeah, the Archelians. Yeah. So as Kay is interrogating Reggie, Jay is left with Reggie's wife, who is giving birth to a squid baby. and when that thing comes out, it is so cute. It has like the biggest alien eyes and like all these tentacles, and it just like has this little cute face, and it's 100% has to be a practical.
The eyes is what I always think about. How they kind of just kind of shine.
They blink and they're adorable. It's so cute. And then Will Smith is holding it and he's like staring at it and he's like, oh, because it's adorable. And then it like spits up in his face.
And the cuteness goes away in 5 seconds when it throws up all over him. Yeah.
All over him. And he's like, oh, but it's so cute. And the effect is fantastic. It looks real. 100% real. It's like believable. And it's just great because like these two people. Oh, like the Jersey Turnpike, like driving there.
Seeing it now more, I didn't notice him when I was younger. It seemed kind of okay, and now I think the more I watch it, I could tell it's a little phony.
Oh, that's definitely not the Jersey. Yeah, I was thinking about that when I was watching it. I was like, that's not the Jersey.
It's not bad, but it's definitely not it.
No.
I don't think so.
But no, I just love that like these two aliens that are dressed. They look like humans, and then she just pops out a kid that looks like a squid. It's just so funny to me that they didn't like they're not all squids. It's great. No. I love that scene so much. It's more like
this was actually something I wanted to bring up to you.
Yeah.
the fact that he's telling like a lot of this important information, and then you see Will Smith getting like smacked around in the background, and it takes a lot of that knowledge you kind of need for this movie, like what's going on. Is like some important stuff that Reggie's saying to Kay, and I was trying to not watch Will getting smacked around in the background this time watching it, because I want to know what Reggie was saying. And he kind of was just like, yeah, I'm just leaving, blah blah blah, like why? And he's just like, you know, just because, like, almost, but he knows that something's up besides his wife being pregnant, and that has really nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
And that's why I love that Kay's suspicion. He's like, any of that seem awkward to you? And he's just like, really? Seem unusual to you? Yeah. It's a lot.
The whole thing was unusual.
It's great. It's so funny writing.
It's such a good scene. Like, it's a great, so like that easily could have just been straight exposition and like, it would have been fine, but they chose to make it a comedic moment, and it worked so well.
Okay. Yeah, that's a cute scene. So I wanted to bring this up to you. Your next scene you have is the morgue, but right before the morgue, we you know, we learn a little bit, like we're learning more about like what is actually the main storyline. Like, yeah, there's a bug. He's here to come take the galaxy away from this higher archy alien prince, if you want to call him that. Whatever you want to say. Like, you know, we're trying to get this information, bits and pieces, to see like what's going on overall in this storyline. And I love when you meet like the big tall guy and the other guy. They go to eat at this restaurant where they actually get
Wait,
murdered.
you know who that tall guy is?
Who is he? I know him. He's from Adam's Family, I want to say.
Yes, because the director of this movie, the director of this movie directed Adam's Family. He is Lurch. That's why I said it. But whoever directed the Adam's Family also directed this movie. Yeah. Steve,
thank you. I wanted to know, like, where's this guy also from, director wise?
Oh, he did Adam's Family. He did like Get Shorty. He did. Oh my God, there's something else that I really love, and I can't think of it. It's going to come to me once we're done talking. Okay. If it comes to me, I'll let you know. But yeah, he didn't do many things, but he did like the Addams Family movies, and he did Best Movie. Maybe, I think Men in Black 2, actually. Yeah. Okay,
that makes sense. Yeah. Cool. I was always interested, like, who did, I was watching, I'm like, actually, who the heck made this movie? like, I'm sure somebody famous, someone did other cool movies, but still, yeah, I was gonna get, for Easter, we had a whole bunch of pierogies. I wanted to get a plate of pierogies and bring them down to you. But I was just like, oh, maybe I should put some cockroaches on there too.
They have to crawl out of your sleeve, though. It always bothers me when that guy is folded in half under the counter. Oh my God.
I know.
Even to this day, I'm like, oh my God.
Give him a break.
Your impression is immaculate.
Oh, I told you, I am D'Onofrio. I am a bug. I should have dressed up as Edgar. That would have been better. One eye just completely
the overalls.
Just overalls. Just
drinking sugar water.
Drinking sugar water.
That's really what you're drinking. I didn't see you were drinking coffee. It's probably sugar water.
Yeah. That's exactly what I'm having.
Yeah, no, that seems great.
But yeah, so I just thought of that when you were like in morgue. I'm like, oh my God, I have pierogies here. How funny would that be?
Just showed up to my house with pierogies.
Yeah. Okay, so we go to the morgue, and these two guys die because, you know, Edgar gets to them just in time. Yeah. And yeah, I think this scene also was like, I don't think you saw this in the trailer, did you? I don't think so. I think this was kind of a surprise scene for everything else you saw in the movie. You kind of saw in the trailer or in the commercials, like seeing this guy's face just completely be removed, and you see this tiny little alien. Maybe it was in the commercial. I don't know. I can't remember, but I feel like this was kind of like, oh my God, kind of moment in the movie. Like what a clever design to hide this alien, and he's kind of like steering this body.
This big
he's
body.
This little tiny alien.
And not only that, the body, so when she cuts him open to do the autopsy, his organs are not right. Like they're not in the
Right,
right
it's a
place. There's
hollow.
not
It's
the
just a
right
hollow
amount of
thing.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like even so, like they're posing as humans and they're these teeny tiny aliens. And then the bodies are just not anatomically correct at
But
all.
the special effects, they gotta get some
Oh
awards
my
for
god,
maybe
yeah.
this scene, because that between that face coming off, I love
Mm-hmm.
how the alien is animated. It's like
Oh,
it's
so
lit
good.
so well.
Mm-hmm.
And it just so lifelike. And I love the little details they put in this little capsule that this alien is
Yes.
inside this
Yeah.
head, and
It's like a
the little
control
TV
center.
screens. Like
Yeah.
how funny is that? That's so clever.
in
So it's kind of
2021,
brilliant.
this movie was made in 90, 97, 98. And in 2021, it's still that scene. And they go pretty close in. Like it's a pretty close up of that little alien. It looks fantastic still now watching it. Like it looks great. Like they did a
Yeah.
great job.
It's so
with
sad though too to see him die. I was
Yeah,
always sad
yeah.
when he puts
He's
the lead down,
dying.
the lights go
Hmm.
out. So clever. It's so well done.
Yeah. What does he say
Um,
to prevent war? The galaxy is on Orion's belt. But
no,
he
he
just
doesn't
keeps
say
saying,
that.
yeah, to,
No.
and they're like, they try to guess what he's saying.
To prevent.
Oh.
To prevent. Whoa. The galaxy is on Orion.
There you go. That's it.
I like how he goes belt and he's just like, yeah.
Oh, and then he dies.
Poor little Archillian.
It's a great scene, and like I'm assuming it was a puppet or an animatronic. It came.
I
I
still
don't think
think
it's
it's
CGI.
not. I think it's CG. I'm telling you, it's that good. I'm telling you, it's
I
that
disagree
good.
with you. I think it's an
It's CG.
animatronic because they did use animatronics in this movie.
All right.
I know
Well, in
Edgar,
certain
Big
parts,
Edgar was
but when
supposed to be
he's
an animatronic.
talking, is what I'm saying. When he's talking specifically,
I don't
I'm
think it's
telling you,
CG.
there's CG there.
No,
It's that good. I'm gonna fight you for it.
no, I disagree, Stu. When I think things are that good and they look that convincing, they're not CG, especially in the 90s. I don't think it's CG. I think it's
No,
a
I'm telling
puppet
you,
or an animatronic.
there's old CG that just they worked harder to get things right, and now
Anyone
they
listening
kind of
to this,
do it cheaper.
please let us know if we're wrong or right. I don't know if we'll be able to confirm this, but if you do know the answer, please let us know.
Yeah, I don't know, but I think it's a mixture of what they did. But I could
It could be
when
a
he's
mixture. You're
when
completely
he's
right.
talking specifically, saying the words I was just imitating, I want to say it's CG. It's that good.
Could be.
All right, if whoever's right, has to, do nothing. But still,
Yeah.
we have to. Still, I'd be. I mean, if it's real, that's amazing. Either way, it's
I don't
incredible.
know.
Whatever it is.
Looks great.
But
Still
yeah,
looks great to this day.
yeah,
Almost 25 years later, it looks great.
And I'm saying watching it on the VHS, I think actually helps it a little bit because you don't see all the details kind of coming through as like a poor quality CG or animated figure. It's like kind of all blended. It kind of all blends in.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure if you watch this in like Blu-ray or HD or something, it would look totally different to you. I didn't when I watched it, I didn't watch it in
fun.
HD. Not even
Give it like a different flavor too, just kind of like a older vibe. I don't know. Enjoyed it. Like watching an old 70s movie or something. I don't know. I just had fun watching it like that.
It has like a 60s vibe to it though. I think that's what it is. Like this movie, especially like the Men in Black headquarters, the music has like a 60s vibe.
Well, you think about like the older alien movies, like when they take place in sci-fi times, and a lot of those, that was like a big sci-fi era. You think about it, so I think that makes sense that it would kind of be a homage to that time period too. The big tall aliens, and they show references to that sort of style of alien, and they get really creative. So I think we talked about most of this stuff. I mean, the morgue scene was pretty big. Did you have any? That was like your last main scene. Was there anything else that you wanted to mention?
No, just mainly I think that one, the red button scene, because it's
Okay. Yeah, that's
it's
one of
so
my. For me,
iconic.
it's amazing.
Um,
Yeah.
so when they finally uh Edgar winds up taking her, and he um so his ship is taken by Men in Black because he leaves it in the cockroach truck, and then he winds up fleeing in
Yeah.
another vehicle. He needs to find some way off of the island, so he goes to the World's Fair because there are two spaceships sitting in Queens, um, and I cannot drive by those things in Queens without going, "Oh, those are spaceships."
All of us, every time we went to a Met game, it's like, there they are, the
It's
spaceships.
like, "Oh, they're on the spaceship."
Who
They're
thought of
so
that?
iconic now to this
Genius.
movie. Yes,
Mhm.
exactly. um, so he's going there, and Kay and Jay have to get there. They get in their car, and earlier in the movie, Kay told Jay that he should not press the red button in their vehicle. They get into what tunnel? Not the Lincoln Tunnel. Lincoln Tunnel?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I live in New York and my geography is awful. And he
I
tells him
live
to press the red button.
nowhere.
Yeah, I'm so awful at it. But he tells him to push the red button so they can get around the traffic that's in the tunnel. And the red button makes their car drive on the ceiling of the tunnel so that they can get around the traffic. Um, I have just it's something that I know, like random trivia, is that obviously that's not the real tunnel in New York, but they replicated the whole tunnel. It's not CGI. Like they literally made that whole tunnel. They replicated it inch by inch for that 5 seconds of a scene. Like it's
So wait, them
insane.
going upside down and the what's underneath, that's real?
Yeah, everything. Well, I don't know about them up close, but anytime you see the actual tunnel is real.
So this is what I'm thinking. I'm not a special effects artist and know anything really, but I'm thinking from watching it just now, like you see them in the car upside down. I felt like that's filmed by with a green screen, and then underneath is what the footage is what you're talking about, the real
So
footage
I
to
don't think
be
so. I
blended
think
with
they
that.
actually flipped the car, had them
Okay.
inside of it, and filmed inside the tunnel. I don't think they actually like CG'd green screen their side.
Interesting. I would like to
That I
look
don't
more
know
into
though.
that. I'm just curious because that's what it seemed like, but you never know. It's
Yeah.
the scene, the shot that gets me now. To me, that always seemed, somewhat special effects and edited, and it
Mhm.
looks great, but it's fake, kind of thing. But I mean, it's awesome flying car going, upside down and just going past traffic. You wish you could do that every day. It's just so cool, and that whole. I always felt bad for Jay. I always wanted Jay to be buckled up. I don't know why. I
He's
feel
not.
bad that he's
He's like
stuck
on
the
the ceiling,
windshield,
like
but
upside
it's
down.
so funny too. Yeah, and then I always love that Elvis song that he's playing on the 8-track.
Yeah. What? Oh yeah, on the 8-track. What song is
Whatever
it?
that song is, I forget now. I'm blanking on the Elvis
North
song.
Virginia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know the name of the song. But yeah, it's
Oh my
great.
gosh, it's
He's
gonna come to
such a
me later.
cowboy.
But yeah, I just love there's this little head bob that he's bouncing like Tommy Lee Jones. It's like
And he's upside down.
yeah, it's really funny. It's like but that's shot. Okay, so like I was saying before, this shot when they just make the end of the tunnel and they flip back, land back on the road, and then scoot by like 4 lanes of traffic, get through the tunnel, through the gate. Like that shot is like
Like
perfect.
throws
It's
the money,
perfect.
right?
I don't know how they shot it. I don't know. I don't care.
I
I'm
don't
just
know.
watching. I'm like, that really happened. I'm thinking that's just like, I know.
They
As a
really
kid,
did
you're
that.
watching this like, yeah, it's cool. And then
Yeah.
I'm thinking as an adult, like, how the heck did they do that? I don't know. Like they must have had a flying car. I don't know. But it's awesome. It's so good.
No, it does look really great. Again, it's hard to tell for a movie that was made in the late 90s. It's hard to tell what was CG and what was practical in this movie because
It's
a
so
lot of it
well
looks
done.
great. Yeah,
And
it
and
really
it's
is.
weird because like we kind of like shortchange all of those things with jokes and laughs throughout that whole scene. It's just one big funny scene. We're not
We're
thinking
all
about all the
distracted.
special effects that are going into that. Yeah, it kind of gets dampen, but I don't know if you're able to just kind of absorb all the little things, like, because you and I are so into filmmaking, and not like we're filmmakers, but like we love the process, and we want to know how the magic happens, or what they, how they do things, and it's really interesting behind the scenes to just see it all come together. It's just it's amazing.
Yeah, no, it's true. Especially in a movie that was made 25 years ago, almost 25 years ago, like to even go like, I don't understand how they did that now, says a lot about how they did it.
I just hope they make another good one or something similar to this kind of style of movies. Like, it's just fun sci-fi comedy.
Unfortunately, it's hard to find sci-fi movies that don't.
Well, the next thing I think that would follow this that's similar to Men in Black, I compare it to like Supernatural. Some, where you have a team of two guys who are trying to hide things that are going on, but they're there to help in a way.
Yeah.
Not exactly. It's not the same, obviously, but it's that kind of thing.
Ish.
And using fake names as FBI agents sound familiar? Just saying. That's that whole show.
Same thing then. Same thing. So then the last.
Oh, I wanted to mention.
Oh,
yep. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No. This is from way in the beginning of the movie, but I added this. That I love that scene where, Jay's finally in the Men in Black, and he's showing him around. And it kind of reminds you of Mos Eisley Spaceport, the beginning. He's seen all these aliens with people coming around, and you see, what is it? He says, what does he say? Oh, he's up on the screen. You meet the twins and Bob, and yeah. And you see all these, like, everybody on the screen is an alien. And like Stallone is like the first person you see. You always laugh. And Al Roker is right next to him.
Al Roker. Michael funny. Jackson is at the end of the movie too, which is great.
The obvious choices, but the celebrities they put in there is a good laugh. I love that. Hilarious. Part.
Yeah, it's really funny. There's like a bunch of celebrities in that. Mm-hmm. A lot of them I don't know who they are, but
okay, so before we get to the end, because we kind of see, we know where this is going, right? Like, at this point, it's like they gotta go stop him before, and we assume they're going to, but they have to find out, like, where the heck this galaxy is, right? They figure it out, but they had to go get some more information from somebody, like, where the heck can this galaxy be? Because it doesn't make any sense, because they say it's on Orion's belt, which is just a group of stars, but it's like, no, it's got to be another reason for it. Yeah. So they end up going to see this other alien contact to help them information. And who do they meet? One of the best characters in the whole movie,
Frank, that little angel dog.
The pug. Right. So I wanted to bring up this character because did you know who voices this dog?
No, I don't.
I don't know his name. I'm sorry. I should have looked up who his actual name is, but who cares? I love him because I looked up his name. This was a while ago, I think. I was just curious, like, who voice sounds familiar? Okay, I'm going to try to make you guess. There's an old 80s movie where there's a famous robot character that we love that was from the 80s. I don't know if you ever saw these movies. I'm pretty sure you have.
Is it Short Circuit?
Yes.
No. Yes?
You've never seen those, though?
No, I have. I haven't seen them in forever, but...
so that's who it is.
It's the person that did the
Johnny
robot.
Five is Frank the dog.
Oh, interesting.
I love it, yeah.
Wow. I would never...
I don't know his name, but like if you
I would not have guessed it unless you said...
He has like a weird kind of pitchier voice to me. Like, I hear like some of his sounds coming through, and if you really listen carefully, but I was just like, when I found that out, I was like, oh, that's so perfect. I love that.
I mean, that dog is only in like two minutes of the movie, and he's just great. It's like,
yeah, and he comes back in the second one. I think it has like a huge
he's
part.
in like
I think he's like he's like the second Men in Black in that movie. I don't know.
Yeah.
Dog in Black.
Oh, little angel.
Pug in Black, PIB.
Pib. Little Pib.
Anyways, but I just wanted to let you know that. So I do love that little
I
plug.
didn't know that.
So
Yeah,
cute.
thank you.
So funny.
I didn't know. Yeah, didn't know.
All
He's
right.
easy to forget in this movie too because he's not in it a lot. He's only in it
No, and it's such a
for
good
like a
twist because he's
very
like,
quick
I love
scene.
me. He's like, that's definitely an alien. It's the dog. You know?
Yeah, because that guy is so he looks like what's his face from Rocky Horror Picture Show, and I can't think of his character now. Oh my god.
To me, he looks like the guy from Beauty and the Beast who's just like, I love it.
Oh yeah.
The skinny guy. Whatever that guy was they see.
It's not the
Insane
alien,
asylum
it's
dude.
the dog. Yeah, the insane
But, yeah.
asylum guy.
Mhm.
No, it's the dog.
That's who
Great.
that was. Been perfect.
It's really good. What were you saying before? Sorry, I cut you off. for a second.
No, it's just I think, and then we get to the end, and it's
Yeah,
just
it's
the
like
the fun of
big
just action and
scene,
fun and
yeah.
funny and all the good stuff.
Well, I did want to bring up, and I don't know if you know this, but so the end of the movie, and the reason why I brought animatronics up earlier in this in our conversation was because the Edgar, at the end of the movie was supposed to be an animatronic, but they wanted it to be more action packed at the end, and the animatronic couldn't perform, so they literally created an animatronic to be in this last scene. And then we're like, okay, we're not going to use it. And they wound up doing CGI for the whole thing.
That sounds like something similar to another film that we've discussed where they had these animators, these animatronics, and did claymation or something. And then last minute pulled it.
Oh.
And they decided to do this. I think it was dinosaurs.
Park.
Yeah. It's the second time Jurassic Park comes up. But yeah, similar situation.
So we already talked about 2 of our previous episodes. We talked about Spider-Man and we talked about Jurassic Park. I think those both below if you want to look at those. Anyway, yeah. So it didn't work out for them. So they wanted to do like a big action-packed scene. The animatronic couldn't perform, so they wound up going with CGI. I think it works for the scene. It's dark. It's not like they had to. What are you doing?
I was looking. I also have that sing-along tape. I was going to say that's from another episode.
No.
It's over there.
Not nearby.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they went with CGI.
But there was, I didn't know that there was an animatronic. No, not at all. I would just assume it's CG, and they had some kind of blend of animatronics for the actors to interact with.
No, it's all CG.
That's awesome, and the CG holds up. I was watching it, I'm like,
yeah,
it's still so bad. Good. When he rips his face off, that transition is perfect. I don't know what they did. And then you see him come out in the stickiness of the like the bug sap or whatever you call that, and he's just slimy and not satisfying. It's just crazy.
Yeah, having, like a cockroach.
Yeah, that face is just it looks like out of a comic book character.
Yeah, it does.
But it's perfect for the movie too.
Yeah.
I just remember seeing that in the commercial. So it wasn't like a spoil, like it could have been anywhere in the movie, I guess, but I guess you could assume that that's the big bad guy of the movie too. And did it ever frighten you, that scene where he's up on the ladder and he throws her? He's starting to like really deform in that scene. Like his face looks so messed up. I mean, you see it more, and there's like weird things sticking out, like his body is almost about to burst of the Edgar suit. Like it's like it barely can hang on anymore. And then he's just like, I'll put my hands on my head. And like to me, I was just like, what's gonna happen? And then, when he rips it off, I would have thought that was his head popping up, but I like how it actually, like, it's more like this. And then it's 5 times bigger of the person. That makes total sense for it to pop out of that little suit. But still.
That little suit. The little tiny Edgar suit.
Well, yeah, 6'5". He's a huge guy, D'Onofrio, but still, it's just like barely compact in that little body Edgar suit for him. It's just funny.
I
love
never even
this
noticed
movie.
that.
Yeah, and just like I think the lighting with like the fire and the animation and stuff is so well done. There's this site on YouTube. I mean, plug this in all you want. I forget. I follow these guys, and so I'm a subscriber, so I like watch their new episodes, and they just talk about all special effects. I forget the Corridor. Have you ever heard of them?
No.
So like I'm no special effects artist, but these guys are. I don't think they're amazing, but they like to talk about, they go in depth with all their special effects knowledge, and they talk about every movie, or they get asked like what movies that they want to talk about, and kind of try to go through the behind the scenes of how they did something. Really interesting. I definitely recommend it for you. I don't think they did Men in Black, but they did like, they try to recreate some scenes from Mummy Returns. They try to make The Rock look better because it looks so bad. And they do things like they make Home Alone rated R. They do some crazy stuff. But I'd be interested on their take on this movie to see what it like. They talk about lighting a lot, and lighting has a lot to do with good special.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The lighting is not done right. It stands out so much and can really, make something look more believable if it's done right.
Yeah.
So that's my 2 cents about that.
I can tell you when CGI looks bad or good, but I couldn't tell you why I think it looks bad or good. So people like that are great, because like I don't know. I could just say, that looks bad.
The beginning of this movie. So that's what I wanted to mention to you. Did you always think that bug? I never thought that was a real dragonfly. I always thought it was like some kind of alien bug. I don't know why. I don't know why. And I always thought like that was some alien splatter on the truck.
Oh, it could be. I didn't think about that.
Well, it was just like it was a foreshadow of the fact that they're going to be this alien bug later down the road, obviously. But I don't know. That dragonfly is clearly CG. Looking at it now.
Oh yeah, clearly. But like maybe that's why it's an alien.
It's not bad CG for a time. It's just clearly CG.
Yeah. But I like your point. I think that makes sense for it to be like that's an alien.
I don't know why. I always thought it was an alien. I always thought that was because maybe the CG had something in my mind, thinking it was not a real dragonfly. It was a movie about aliens, so I was ready to go.
Was ready.
Ready.
They set me up.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I don't know. I love this movie. I could watch it, and I remember it. I don't know if it's still on. I don't have cable, so I don't know if this is still on TV all the time. But like when I did have cable, it was on all the time.
Stars.
It's clearly on Stars, because that's the only place to stream it. Yeah, I don't know who owns the right to this movie, but like they need to release it somehow, because I need to watch it more.
I was surprised that it really was like quite an effort to find this movie. I felt like I saw it everywhere not that long ago, and now I can't even stream it anywhere. But you know what? Maybe it was all for a good purpose. It was for me to go find the VHS, to go pop it back in the VCR that barely works, but it works great once it finally gets turned on. The weird thing about our VCR, it's weird that you have to like, this is my brother's old one, you have to like shove it into the whatever you call the feeder or whatever. So it like the power turns off, you have to like push it in. It doesn't like take the tape. You have to like push it in, then turn the power on, and then hit play. It's like a process. Once you learn that, that's how broken. But also I was watching it. I guess like the turning things are like a little squeaky, so I kept hearing the whole movie just made it all for the experience. I enjoyed it. It was fine. Something we were missing in life. Just something that was imperfectly perfect.
My dad was like, "We have the VHS." And I was like, "We have nothing to play the VHS
to play it on." Yeah. Gotta go find a thrift store down the street to
go real by real.
Ask a neighbor in their attic if they have one. I don't know. We leave it here just in case for perfect example of something like this that we get to throw an old movie on.
Yeah.
You know what made me feel happy? It was like I was watching all the trailers too. Can you guess any of the movies that's where the Close Encounters thing popped up, because it was
I was wondering why you asked me about Close Encounters.
Yeah, they were like, it was like a re-release of that. It's like
okay.
The imaginative mind of Steven Spielberg, Close Encounters. Watch it again, just like the first time. I'm like, I never saw it the first time. So and then right after that, it followed up with My Best Friend's Wedding. It was just coming out.
I love that movie.
I love that movie too. I love that movie. I don't know why. I love that movie.
It's so good.
Julia Roberts and belly shirts. I'm pretty much. That's pretty much amazing. My life.
So good.
I like that actor too. He plays the same guy in every movie and every show.
Dermot Mulroney.
Sure.
Dylan Mulroney.
I call him the dad that left Joseph Gordon-Levitt at the Foster House and Angels in the Outfield, but whatever.
Okay.
He plays his dad in that movie, but yeah.
Oh.
Anyways, if you ever saw that movie.
I was just gonna say something. I can't remember.
But yeah, but that was my VHS story of watching it. It was really fun. Is there anything else that you think we were supposed to talk about music wise? I think I hit all the music really. It's this movie's really just about score and it's just fun. Oh yes, we did. Whoa. We forgot about the biggest song about this movie. What is the biggest song in this movie? Will Smith's
the
Men in
Black song. Yes.
So on the VHS, this connects with that. You get the music video at the end of the tape. So it's amazing. Like, stay tuned for afterwards of Will Smith's Men in Black music video. And you're just like, uh-huh.
Are you going to do the dance?
So we used to watch the music video and it's him. This is probably more like, what other thing can we spend a lot of money on to help promote this movie?
No, but like back in that time, they used to release music videos along with movies. Like it wasn't a weird thing. Right. It's a weird thing for us now, but like back then, not so much. Marketing, exactly. They used to do it at the same time.
Right. And I kind of miss that. I really miss it, actually.
Yeah.
I know it's cheesy and silly now, but I miss it. It was just a part of, they went hand in hand. You're going to hear this song. You're going to go buy the CD. It reminds you of the movie. You want to go watch the movie. You watch the movie. You want to go listen to the soundtrack. It was just like you went back and forth all the time. I miss that so much. So anyways, you could watch just the music video at the end of the VHS on this.
No, I want to see you do the dance.
Okay, so wait, let me kind of work the story in. So my brother, this is kind of calling out to him because he had to do this dance for his talent show at the summer rec program we were at during the summertime. And all the kids would put on a dance or they would learn a song and they'd have to do something. So I think he learned the dance first. And I'm pretty sure he wore this exact outfit and had all the kids, like the counselors who were like 17, love Will Smith, I'm sure. And that was like their song choice, which I thought was pretty cool. But I remember he learned how to do the dance to this song. And they do this dance in the music video. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't know the dance. I remember the music video, but I don't remember
the music video. And it's in the song. It goes like this. You ready? And it was like part of a joke, I think. Yeah, so that's like part of the dance. Let me hear you just bounce with me, just bounce with me, just bounce with me, bounce. Come on, let me see you just slide with me, just slide with me, just slide. Come on, let me see you take a walk with me, take a walk, take a walk. Come on, make your neck work. Now freeze. Well, actually, it goes right back into it, and they do it again. But he does it again in the music video with Mikey from the beginning. Somehow he comes back. They resurrect him, and he comes back to do the dance with Mikey in this digital. Like he looks like Wadu, basically, as a cousin of Wadu. So from episode 1 of Star Wars. So, like I said, it's awesome. It's a great music video. I love that song too, even though it ties
I love
into
it.
Last week's movie with Big, because that's part of the song they duped it with, or whatever you call it. The real song. I forget the real song's name. That background of Men in Black is in Big, where they're jumping on the trampoline. That's a real song. Yeah, but I forget how the real words go.
I don't know.
No, not Heart and Soul. That whole like Men in Black. I'll send it to you later. Like Men in Black is our actual. Do I have to look this up for you? Hold on.
I don't know.
I feel bad. It's a real song. It's a real like 80s song.
No. Oh, is it? I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's
While you're looking that up, I just remembered something. So the director of this movie, can't remember his name, but he directed Wild Wild West. Do you remember that movie?
Oh, did he do that as well?
He did. I love that movie.
And I love. Well, I'm not saying you're alone, but you're alone. It's
Oh no!
I funny story about wanting to go see Wild Wild West. I was
It
supposed to
also
go
has
see
a
my
great
best
song.
friend and his sister, I think. I forget what we were supposed to go see that, and they wouldn't let us in because we weren't old enough. and it turned into like this big fight, like trying to get in there. We were like 12, and you had to be 13 because it was a PG-13, but because we wanted to go by ourselves, they wouldn't let us in.
I love that movie. I have it on VHS. I remember as a kid. I think I watched that movie more than this movie, to be honest. I loved it. It was so funny. Oh, so good.
Oh, it is good. Wait, what is the name of that song?
It's not called not Wild Wild West. It's not called Men in Black.
No, it's but Wild Wild West is the same thing. It's really Stevie Wonder's I Wish.
Oh.
I'm going straight to the Wild Wild West. He just took all those old like kind of like groovy 70s, 80s songs, and then he made it into or what did I say, 80s? I think it's 70s. But he took like all those songs and he made them into like a rap song. That's all he did.
Yeah.
So
I don't know which one you're talking about for Men in
same
Black.
with all of his songs. Miami and Getting Jiggy with It is another song. And it's awesome background.
Yeah, but rappers do
music,
that.
whatever
Rappers
they
do that
did.
now too, though. Like that's not uncommon.
Right,
Like,
right. It was everybody did. That was what a
Yeah.
rapper did. You know, they would just create a verses and choruses over old songs, and
Yeah.
I'm sure they were credited, but it's just like how they were able to get, you know, stuff made. But I
Yeah.
can't find what the real name of that song is. Oh my gosh, I should have thought of this before, but it's in Big, which was last week's episode.
I know what song you're talking about. It's
Yes, that one.
Send Me
Wait, what'd you just say? Wait.
Forget-Me-Nots.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. What's the name of that?
I don't know. I just know Send Me Forget-Me-Nots is the lyric.
I think that's the name of it. Forget Me Nots. What does that mean?
I don't know. Don't forget me. I have no idea. We're gonna get real deep and philosophical right now then.
Yeah. That's anyways, whatever. I can't find it, but that's whatever you just said. That's exactly
Yeah,
what I'm
it's
getting
that
at.
song. It literally sounds
It's
exactly
that
the
song,
same, but
and then
different.
they changed the lyrics and made it for this movie. There
We
you
got
go.
there.
I was trying to get for the last 5 minutes.
I'm gonna put my glasses back on since we're wrapping up.
They're beautiful,
But-
aren't they? Stars. I never really look at them anymore, but they really are beautiful.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode. You know why?
Why?
Because they're not going to remember any of it.